Next scenario. It's Monday morning and you're busy working, and suddenly you receive a series of angry calls from customers letting you know that files that look to be from your organization involving them have leaked online. Additional customers begin to call with concerns that they might have communications or files leaked online. And an employee lets IT know, or you, that some of the files that they used to do business have gone missing. Do you immediately want to go public with an apology before you even know what happened? But follow-up question, also, do you want your clients and the people who look at you seeing that in a general post online, or do you want to engage with them individually first? So I don't know the answer to these questions. I just want to be very clear. I don't know what the right decision is for your individual business and those of you watching. I don't know. The reason I ask these questions is to play devil's advocate, which is really easy to do from up here, and I get it, and I'm sorry if you guys are all mad at me, but the reality is you need to think about these things. And you need to, and I promise you, the reason I want to run you through these questions and playing devil's advocate is you want to think about them now than when you have people calling you on the phone screaming and everything's not working. And you have to make these decisions in very high stress situations with very little information. Because remember, you don't know how bad this is yet. You don't know how expansive it is yet. And you don't know your ramifications and your requirements yet. So you want to figure that out now as best you can. And like I said, I like the intention of being transparent and accountable. But I would say for business owners, you might want to at least have an idea of what your legal because remember, if this happens and customer data leaks, there's liabilities involved, so you might want to start to protect yourself. They have agreements, this particular company have agreements with some of their clients that if there is a breach, it needs to be held in confidence between the two. And so these are the things that decision makers, you should be aware of what your requirements are and stuff like that. And so when we look at this scenario where we have customer files out in the wild, it could be from us. We're beginning to have reason to suspect it is us. These are things that you need to think about. And so the next question is, we've talked about how our communication goes and our first step. And I asked the room, and I don't expect all the same answers or even for you to have an answer. The question becomes, what's your exposure here as a business? What's your exposure? How bad is this for you if this situation happened to you? And if you want to share what you think that would be for your business, I would love that. If you're in the chat or anything, speculate all you want. I would love to hear it so we can talk about it. But I don't expect a necessary answer. I would love if people engage for this, but how bad this would be. If you were a law firm, it would be really bad. And the answer is absolutely it would be bad. How about if you're a medical provider? That'd be really bad. HIPAA penalties get really intense really quickly. What if you're a DoD contractor or a subcontractor and you provide to companies like Lockheed Martin or Oshkosh or whatnot, and this happens? How bad is that? And do you know who you have to report to in that case? If you're political, do you have reporting that you have to make? So these are the questions I ask with this scenario. All of the IT stuff that we talked about before still applies, right? You're still contacting your IT provider, still running business continuity and disaster recovery and incident response. You're still thinking about all of these things, but now you have additional public concerns that you need to talk about. What's the cost of this to you in reputation? Do you lose clients over this? Even though, just to be clear, this could happen to anyone. And anyone who's involved in business, even if you take decent precautions, is at risk to this. It happens. This is the world today. But that's not how the world operates, right? People don't give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So there was a company, and they allowed us to use them for a case study when I worked for the previous company I worked for, where they had a major disclosure. They were attacked by an advanced persistent threat, APT, out of China. They had a large disclosure. The CEO found out while he was on the golf course, or CTO, sorry, found out when he was on the golf course, and it was a major breach. And they had to report to quite a few people, quite up and down the line, and it had a major impact. They did recover from it, and they were awesome about the whole thing. They were very transparent about what the process was with anyone that asked. They shared the experience, and that put a lot of information out in the wild about how this goes down, and people got better because of it. But in the short term, it absolutely cost them a lot of money and time. And so I want everyone to think about that as we go on.